Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick's Lotus, your one-stop shop for brews, budgets, and board states. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more daily card highlights, as well as tons of other MTG content, as well as daily live streams at 6 p.m. Today, we've got 10 powerful commander cards that are 10 cents or under. That's right. Bust out your dimes and tell you dime you'll be home late, because daddy's got a dollar. Up first, we've got Crystalline Giant from Streets of Capenna Commander for 10 cents on the dot. Crystalline Giant is 3 colorless for a 3/3 artifact creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose a kind of counter at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it from among flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, and a +1/+1 counter. Put a counter of that kind on Crystalline Giant. This thing's just fun, not to mention a great thing to throw auras and equipments onto. It works great with the Ozolith or anything else that can move counters. Eventually it's going to get hexproof, so you can make this thing pretty big and fairly unkillable. Up next is Conclave Guildmage from Guilds of Ravnica for 8 cents. Conclave Guildmage is a green and a white for a 2/2. Pay 1 green, tap it. Creatures you control gain trample. Pay 5 and a white, tap it. Create a 2/2 green and white night elf creature token with vigilance. The second ability is okay late game, but being able to give all your big Timmy creatures trample seems pretty decent. Up next, we've got Cayenne, Dean of Substance, with a backside of Imbraham, Dean of Theories. Cayenne is 2 and a green for a 2/2 legendary creature, elf druid. Tap her, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, put a study counter on it in exile. She can also pay 4 and a green to create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of different mana values on cards in exile you own with study counters on them. A nice little token engine, as well as getting lands into your hands for stuff like landfall. The backside, Imbraham, is 2 and 2 blue for a 3/3 flying. Pay X and 2 blue, tap him, exile the top X cards of your library with study counters on them. You may put one of them into your hand. Awesome. A way to get bigger fractals from Cayenne and to get your study cards back. Keep in mind, you don't have to pay anything for X. You could just pay 2 blue, tap him, and just get one of your cards back from exile with a study counter. So pretty good. 2 cards for 8 cents. Sure. Up next is Fira, Judge of Valor from Multiverse Legends March of the Machines for 3 cents. Fira is 2 and a white and 2 black for a 2/4 legendary angel clear. Flying, lifelink. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. First off, pretty solid blocker with 4 toughness and flying.
Try to move me. Well, I'm not gonna try. Try and move me, bro!
As well as having lifelink, this thing also has a card draw engine on it, as well as a way to fill your graveyard on it for a reanimator build. For 3 cents, this thing gives you big value, as well as having some amazing art on it. Maestro's Ascendancy comes in at 10 cents on the dot. A blue, a black, and a red for an enchantment. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard by sacrificing a creature in addition to its normal cost. If a spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. This thing is sweet in Reanimator, bringing back stuff like Grave Titan and using the tokens to recast your Vindicates and Reanimates. This also seems great in like a Spellslinger deck that runs some token creators in it. I mean, consider it for 10 cents. Atrax's Fall from March of the Machines comes in again at 10 cents on the dot. For 1 and a green at sorcery, destroy target artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying. Or you could smoke their mana rock with it. I don't control what you do on your downtime.
Well, excuse me for being the most terrible man on the planet! I'm a terrible man! What are you doing?
This isn't an instant, sure, but it can remove 4 different card types, which is pretty wild, actually. Definitely some removal you could run. Aki Emberkeeper comes in next at 3 cents from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. 1 and a red for a 2/1. Whenever a non-token modified creature you control dies, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Equipments, auras you control, and counters are modifications. This seems great in decks based around either going wide or just throwing enchantments and auras on all your creatures and trying to bash face, because then you just get passive blockers, so you're free to swing with those big creatures more, because if they swing back at you, you just have chump blockers with the 1/1s this thing spits out. Flood the board with creatures, buff them all up with counters. If they have any answers for those creatures, you just get more creatures on the board to start throwing more counters onto. It seems pretty decent. Loran, Disciple of History, comes in at 5 cents. 3 and a white for a 3/3. When she or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, return an artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Artifact decks that run a fair amount of legendaries love this thing. Doctors hate it. Just seems like some good old recursion to consider. From Dominaria United, Cleaving Skyrider comes in at 2 cents. 2 and a white for a 2/2 with flying, flash, kicker for 2 and a red. When Cleaving Skyrider enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Again, a go wide creature or token deck loves this thing. You could win a game with this thing fairly easily, not to mention play it during other people's turns. If they swing with a lot of creatures, you can just deal damage that way as well. And finally, we've got Overcome from M20 for 2 cents. 3 and 2 green for a sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. Talk about a cheap game ender. 2 cents to give a super boost to your whole board and trample. Again, those creature-based decks will definitely find a spot for this. For 1 less mana than Overrun and 25 less cents for the board stater on a budget, this seems great. Let me know what cards you liked, disliked, Go check out some of the other videos on the channel. We upload daily and go live daily as well, both at 6 p.m. Maybe click on one of these 2 suggestions in the top right of your screen. If you'd like to show some additional support, head over to Patreon at patreon.com/NixLotus. Starts as low as $1 to get shouted out like Tyler, Betsy, and Katie, our current amazing patrons. Much love, guys, and go play some Magic.